Now, you've heard me say 1,000 times that you always want to shoot RAW instead of JPEG. And I think probably the best way to demonstrate for you why that's the case is to take a look at this mighty fine pizza we have here. Now, let's pretend like this pizza is a RAW image. And as we look at it, it's a lovely pizza. It's got all the slices. It's a combination, so it's got your olives, it's got your sausages and all the vegetables. So everything that should be there is there. Same thing as a RAW image. Let's now pretend like this image is a JPEG. And the difference between a RAW image and a JPEG is like this. A JPEG removes information from the image in order to make the file size smaller. So what we do is we take a slice out. Now this represents maybe a 90% compression rate, okay? Now what a JPEG image does to fool the eye is as follows. It rearranges all the pieces, and we take it and move it out a little bit, and we take the ingredients and we patch here, and we take some, put it over here, take some and rearrange, and there we have it. Now, it's still round, it's still a pizza, it still has some of the ingredients in it, but something about it just isn't the same as it originally came out of the oven. We've got this piece sitting over here. The other thing to remember about this is that it is a lighter pizza now. It has less mass, same thing as the file size in a JPEG. Now if we compress the image even further, we take out another slice, put it over here, rearrange the other remaining slices so that it continues to look like a pizza, but you can see that obviously these ingredients need to be rearranged to fill in the gaps. So we'll take some of the cheese off of this one, put it in the gap, and take some cheese over here, put it over here, a little bit of from there, put it here. And now it's starting to look like, well, it's still a pizza. Still looks like a pizza. Still has some of the ingredients, but now it's beginning to look kind of like a mess. And if we go further, we take this slice out, put it over here, further rearrange everything. And you can see, I think, now that as we remove digital information from the file, we degrade the image the same way we're messing this pizza up by having to constantly rearrange the ingredients to fill in the gaps. And we put things where maybe we think they should be so that it at least looks like a pizza from a distance. But I think now that you get the idea, when you shoot JPEG, you're not capturing all of the image information that the camera is capable of capturing. So why shoot JPEG? Similar to buying a Cadillac and only driving at 45 miles an hour and putting 2 people in it. You know a Cadillac is perfectly capable of going 70 miles an hour on the freeway with 6 people. So don't shortchange yourself when shooting landscape images. Go RAW, always. Okay, now that you understand the basics of JPEG compression and why it's not a good idea, let's take a look at how that translates into your actual images here on the screen as we direct our attention first to our directory structure. And let's look at what this actually means from a file standpoint. And if we look at this image, and let's take a look. This is the Maroon Bells in Colorado, obviously during the fall colors in September. And the reason I chose this image is because it has a lot of detail, a lot of color, and it also has solid blue sky, which is going to demonstrate for us our theories. All right, let's take a look at the file sizes, however, though. And if we look, we see the TIFF image that was converted from the RAW image. The TIFF is 126 megabytes, which was converted as a 16-bit. Now, the reason for that is because the best analogy I think that I can give you is that if we take a small bucket full of water and dump it into a big bucket, obviously the big bucket is not full, but it's still a bigger bucket. Well, the TIFF environment, 16-bit TIFF environment, doesn't mean that I have 126 megabytes of information. It's just the TIFF 16-bit is a bucket that is the size of 126 megabytes, if you can understand that analogy. We still only, though, have 33.9 megabytes of usable digital information contained in a TIFF file that's 126 megabytes large. But if we look at the conversions to JPEG, you can see the immediate effect that the JPEG conversion has. We go from having 33.9 megabytes of information into 9 megabytes. And then if we convert this still further, we have 20% compression, which reduces the file size to 5 megabytes. We have 40% compression level, which reduces the file size to 4. And I think now you see the progression levels we're going into. 60% compression levels take us to 3. See, we're throwing away more and more digital information the more JPEG compression we apply to the image, until we get to an 80% compression level, which takes us just under 2 megabytes of information. So we go from 33.9 to 1.9 megabyte of digital information that we have simply thrown into the garbage and rearranged to fool the eye, all in the name of getting a small file size, which to me is ridiculous. So let's take a look at how this translates into the image itself. And the image on the far right is a TIFF image. And this is the JPEG image that really doesn't have any compression added to it. And this is the image that has the 80% compression level added to it. Let's first zoom in on the TIFF image. And this is at 100% zoom. And we're going to come up here and look. Let's go to this image and go to 100% zoom and look a little closer. And I think you can see the differences starting to be reflected. And then we'll go to 100% zoom on this image. And I think now you can see that we have nice, smooth tonal gradations that come from a 14-bit file out of the 5D Mark II. This is an older image, but it's the 5D Mark II, and really, really nice color gradations going on here. It's starting to break up right here in the JPEG image with 0 compression, but when we go to this image, you can see the complete destruction of the tonal gradations in this image. All right, let's take the magnification levels up to pixel level, and I'm going to go to 1737 on this image, 1737 on this image, and 1737 on this image. Let's reposition these, and we'll be able to show you exactly what compression does, JPEG compression does, to destroy an image. This is the TIFF image. We have all the digital information to work with here, and if we take a look at the sky, we can see minute little differences in the colors from one pixel to the next, and that's a good thing. That gives us the richness, the depth, the detail that more resembles what the human eye was looking at when we stood on the edge of the lake and took this shot. Now here's the JPEG image with 0 additional compression added to it, and you can immediately see what we call fringing here, the halo effect that occurs whenever you apply compression to an image. And if we look at the sky, we can also see that it's not quite as smooth. It's a little more contiguous up here, and that's not a good thing because that implies an artificial look to the sky. We have a little bit of banding up here. Let's go ahead and go up further, and we can see intricate transitions from one color to the next on a pixel level, and here it's very blotchy. Well, hang on to your hat, friends. This is what the highly compressed image looks like. And it's so banded and it's so destroyed that we have one contiguous color here, one contiguous color here, and we have the halo effect that has gone absolutely crazy on this highly compressed JPEG image. And this, my friends, is why you don't want to shoot JPEG. Now let's go into the detail of the mountain here and take a look at what else is happening that you don't want to have to live with. Now we've seen what happens with a contiguous color in the sky, but look at this area right here and these areas down here, actually this whole area of detail to where we have, once again, very intricate differences of color between adjacent pixels. That gives us our detail. It gives us our richness in depth and in color. And if we go to the JPEG image, we see where we're starting to get away from that. Things are a little blotchy. Like this area right here, just it's thrown information away and tried to rearrange the colors to fool the eye. and it's not good. But here on the super compressed image, it's ridiculous. I mean, you end up with these blocks of information that the JPEG algorithm has simply manufactured and put in place of the digital information that it threw away. Look at this one big giant block of digital information that was simply manufactured by the JPEG algorithm as the compression level was applied to it. Another big giant block of manufactured digital information that was used to cover up, much in the same way we took the ingredients with the pizza and covered up the areas that we eliminated, trying to make up for the pieces of pizza that we took out. It's the exact same concept. So let's go back to our 100% view. And if we look at the here, and here on the computer screen, we don't see a lot of difference. But when you start to print and you start to process your images for final application on the internet, these little artifacts and these defects are going to become more and more apparent. And that's why you don't shoot in JPEG. You have no digital information to work with. What you should be doing is you shoot RAW, you do a conversion to a 16-bit TIFF, then you make your adjustments with color, with cropping, with dynamic range balancing, etc., etc. Once you've finished your image, then you resize for either the print size that you want to generate, or you convert then to a JPEG for use on the internet. And I promise you, if you do all of your adjusting on the TIFF image right here, and then you convert to a JPEG right here with zero compression applied to it, or very, very little, that your results will be much, much better. So shoot RAW, convert to a TIFF. At the very, very end of the process, then you apply your JPEG compression.